Hi everyone, I'm Carolin Soldo and welcome back to another episode with the most powerful business scaling strategies for your powerhouse business. Today I want to talk about how to use speaking to grow your business with ease and elegance. I have an amazing guest with me today, Michael Port of Heroic Public Speaking, and he is the #1 expert in this field, helping non-actors become amazing speakers and sharing their message with the world. I'm excited to talk to Michael today, and let's get started. As always, before we get started, make sure you hit the bell and you subscribe to our channel so you get notified when new episodes become available here every week. Welcome to Powerhouse Business on YouTube. I'm your host, Carolin Soldo. I'm a business owner, business scaling master, and mom of 2 boys. I love thinking big, pushing boundaries, and doing things differently. Most of all, I'm all about achieving massive growth with ease and helping you scale your business by living the life you love. Let's go. Before we talk to Michael, let's talk a little bit about speaking. Many business owners love using speaking in their business to get their message out, to connect with their communities, to generate leads, and to get themselves in front of new audiences consistently throughout the year. However, many business owners are deadly afraid of public speaking. So which group do you fall into? Do you love speaking, or are you deadly afraid of speaking? No matter what, you will get so much out of today's episode, and you'll walk away with tips and secrets and best practices all about how to use your speaking abilities to grow your business even more. Now let's talk to Michael. He's ready to go, and we'll get started.
25 years ago, Michael earned his MFA in acting from NYU before working in film, TV, and theater. And now at the Heroic Public Speaking headquarters in New Jersey and for organizations around the world, he teaches non-actors what actors know about how to give better performances both on stage and off. Michael is also the author of 8 books, including Book Yourself Solid and Steal the Show. And those books have been translated into 29 languages and been on the bestseller lists of the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, among others. His clients include Disney, Best Buy, Guardian, Navy SEALs, FBI agents, even astronauts, and thousands of others who care deeply about making a difference in the world. Michael, welcome to the show. Great to have you today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. One thing I wanted to get started with is this idea of fear of public speaking. You know how people always say, I'm more afraid of more afraid of speaking than of death. Is that true? And what do we do about that?
Not true. False. So, you know how sometimes in our modern age, studies are misappropriated or misused in some way? Mm-hmm. This is one of those studies. So when the study was done, the researchers were not trying actually to figure out whether or not public speaking or death was a bigger fear. Mm-hmm. What they were trying to identify were what were the most common fears. Yeah. And the reason that public speaking seems like it's a greater fear than death is not because it actually is, but rather because it's a more present fear. Fortunately, most of us are not worried throughout the day that we're going to die. If we were worried throughout the day that we were going to die, we would probably have some serious pathology. Mm-hmm. But we are often throughout our day presented with opportunities where we need to, stand up and present. And that can be provoking. And so, because look, think about it this way. Let's say I had you right next to me here. And let's just say hypothetically, you said you were more afraid of public speaking than dying. Now, I know you're not, because you quite, I think, enjoy speaking and presenting and performing. But let's just say you were afraid. And you were standing right here. I said, listen, you've got 2 choices right now. Either, this is going to sound very intense, I kill you right now in this moment, or you just speak for 5 minutes. Which would you prefer? And I think most sane people are going to say, I'll speak. So if you actually think about it, it's not really a bigger fear than death. It's just a present fear. And so if we can deal with the fact that, okay, it's a present fear, that's fine, but I don't actually think I'm going to die when I do it, then maybe if we can then focus on, well, why am I doing it? Rather than what do I have to do or how should I do it, but why am I doing it? Because if you're if you're doing it for your own sake, to get something for yourself, it actually becomes more anxiety provoking. So if you're working for approval, you're much more nervous than if you're actually trying to be helpful. So I'll give you an example.
Great.
I had a client who a number of years ago called me up a little bit desperate because she had finally got an opportunity to be on Good Morning America.
Wow.
She'd been working for months to get on the show. She had a new book out, and that's a pretty big get. So she said, Michael, I got the show. What can I do to be good? I said, nothing. You can't. And I took, of course, a very long pause just to create a little drama. And she said, what do you mean? You don't think I'm good? I said, no, of course it's not that. But you can't go into those kind of situations trying to be good. You can, however, go into those situations trying to be helpful. And if you are, in fact, helpful, then people will think, oh, she was good. Mm-hmm. But trying to be good is something you're doing for yourself to get approval from the audience, which is very, very different than actually being in service of the audience. Two totally different things.
Wow. You're already giving us the fix to it. I mean, it's a complete mindset shift, right? So
it might be.
We have to leave ourselves, put ourselves out of the equation and just, approach it from a place of service and being helpful and forgetting about ourselves almost, right? I had this experience one time, Michael. I was in New York City. I did a 2-hour workshop. And I had 2 different audiences, audience during lunch, audience at night, and they were completely different. And I felt the energy in the room. The audience during lunch was accepting, excited, welcoming. They were great counterparts. They were great with, when acting with me and playing along. The evening audience had a wall up. They were not good actors. Whatever I was trying to do to get them to laugh and stand up and feel something, I could sense not judgment, but suspicion. Who is that lady up there on stage? I could not engage with them. And I think that's one of the things that maybe people are afraid of, having that rejection coming at you when you're on stage, or feeling like you're not doing a good job right now and you're not getting that instant feedback of, wow, yeah, your talk is really good. What do we do in those cases?
Well, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because there are 3 types of speakers. Speakers that have bombed, speakers that have not yet bombed but will, and then speakers that have bombed but lie about it.
Oh, okay.
So, I fall squarely in the first category. I've given, over 2 decades of professional speaking at the highest end of the circuit. I've given lots of speeches that were received with a resounding meh. Absolutely. Most speakers have, but I bombed once. I mean, so badly that people were just walking out of the theater. And I know, that's not something that anybody wants to have happen. But in that particular situation, I was trying to do something quite unique and different, but I hadn't prepared extensively enough to pull it off. I thought I could rely on my talent and my subject matter expertise. And talent will only take you so far. I mean, I'm sure you know dozens, if not hundreds, of very, very talented people that have done very little with that talent. And I'm sure you know dozens, if not hundreds, of people that have done extraordinary things with their life. Yeah. And you might not have thought they were particularly talented at that thing in the beginning, because they focused more on developing craft, so that they knew how to handle any situation that was thrown at them. Mm-hmm. Now, given that, in your particular situation, sometimes, we may have an experience where we feel like something was off. It didn't work quite as well as we wanted to. And we leave thinking, well, the audience was off. Which,
I did that. I blamed them. They were just they're bad people.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They're just horrible, stupid people. Obviously, if they were better people, they would think I'm genius. I mean, we do that. Yeah. Almost every single speaker has at some point has blamed the audience. Now, there will certainly be some audiences that bring more energy because of the time of day, as you said, or because of the culture in that organization, or culturally. Different audiences respond differently depending on where the audiences are from. you're going to have a very different experience with an Australian audience than you are with an American audience. And you're going to have a very different experience with an Indian audience than you are with a Japanese audience.
Yeah.
So if you are speaking to audiences that come from different cultures, it's really important to understand the culture so as not to be surprised when your expectations are not met because the experience is different than what you're used to.
Great.
But again, in your case, certainly maybe there was a different vibe, there's a different energy, and it was a little bit of a tougher, row to hoe. It's sometimes what happens, and this is what happens to performers when they do matinees and evening shows. Sometimes when you nail the first one, like everything just works, the audience is on, you just feel like you're in the flow, then you come back to the second one, and without realizing it, you're trying to repeat the first one. Now, that may or may not have been what happened to you, but it's often the case because if the first 5 minutes, if you're trying to do what you did in the first 5 minutes, now we need to be able to deliver a reliable speech. Meaning have reliable delivery in the speech so that every time we deliver it, it's the same thing. But sometimes if we don't know exactly what we're doing moment to moment to moment, and we're working through some of it on the stage and kind of speaking extemporaneously or improvisationally, like we know what our structure is, but inside of that we're playing. If we do that and we do two speeches back to back, they're going to feel very different because you're not delivering the exact same speech. And so if the first 5 minutes or so feels different or off, or they're not laughing in the same way as the audience did in the first speech, or not responding in the same way, all of a sudden your brain starts spinning and you go, oh, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. And you start pushing harder and trying to make it work, which of course then creates actual tension with the audience as opposed to creating more freedom and flexibility.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it. I think that's exactly what happened to me. It was an expectation in my mind and it didn't happen the way I thought it should. And then I made this story in my mind, they don't like me and it's not going well. And then my performance and they could sense it too. And then it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, exactly.
So great.
Look, we've got one of our students gave us a framed cartoon from the New Yorker magazine. And we put it up on the wall at HBS HQ because it's perfect to illustrate the experience that people often have. So it's this woman. It's a picture of a woman who just gave a speech and she's taking her bow, and everybody except one person is standing up, giving her a standing ovation, clapping. Except there's one dude sitting there in his seat. It's always a dude, by the way. Just sitting in his seat looking grumpy. And she's thinking, the little thought bubble above her head is, they all hated me.
Oh.
Because we will often see one person with a look on their face or crossed arms that seems like they don't like us. And so what do? We think everybody thinks that. We start catering to that person because we want the approval from that person. We think if they don't like us, the whole thing's not working. Meanwhile, we may not even be reading them correctly because they may be sitting there like this, looking at us, kind of going, But really, what's happening is not, oh, I hate this speaker. It's, oh my God, I just realized like the last 20 years of my life, I've been making choices that make no sense and are totally outside my value system. This woman is blowing my mind.
Yeah,
I'm really uncomfortable right now, but oh my God, this is impressive and amazing. So they're not actually having the experience you think they're having.
Yeah, we can't assume anything. Yeah, that's incredible. So you gave us, I just want to hang on to those nuggets that come out of your talk too. This idea that we need to be prepared for who we're talking to, right? The cultural background, the emotion, the vibe, all of that. So what audience am I facing? But then go into every audience, every talk with a clean slate almost, like a blank.
That's right.
Don't expect or assume anything. It's a new audience, new start.
Yep.
And don't get attached to one person that's looking at you the wrong way in the audience. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Michael, I want to switch gears a little bit from the technique and the art of speaking over to building a business with speaking, because the number one question I get about speaking is, how do I make money from speaking? And not as a career, but to build a business. So clients will come and say, Carolin, should I be speaking? And how will that make me money? How would you answer that question?
Very often when you ask somebody with experience, how do you get paid to speak, or how do you become more successful as a speaker, usually they'll tell you, well, you just got to put in your reps. You got to do the chicken dinner, speeches, and you got to go to the Elks Club and the Chamber of Commerce. And, you just got to put in your reps. And then you need a killer website, and you got to get a killer video, and you got to have, awesome headshots, and you got to get a big social following, and blah, 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 blah. And, some of that may be
helpful.
Or I'm not even sure helpful. I'd say some of it may be accurate. But the problem is there's only one thing besides fame, and fame is very elusive. And when I say fame, I mean fame like Will Smith is famous.
Yeah.
Right? If you can walk into a mall without getting mobbed, you're not famous. Let's be really clear about that. So the one thing that will book more speeches is the speech itself. Here's the thing. A lot of folks try to move the market with marketing and then throw the speech together in a week or two before the actual event.
Yeah.
So that'll get you one speech. Marketing will get you one speech over and over again. So you got to do tons of marketing over and over and over again. And that's really what you are. You're a marketer rather than a speaker or a performer or a transformational leader. But if you can create a speech that is what we call a referable speech, then every time you deliver that speech, you get new gigs. And you're able to leverage the power of compounding gigs, just like compounding interest. Because if you give one speech that nets you 2 new gigs, those 2 new gigs now net you 4. Those 4 net you 8. Those 8 net you 16, 16, 32. And next thing you know, the speech is what is doing your marketing for you because the quality of it is so good.
Wow. So do you recommend that how most people, I think they start by looking at the stage. And then, like you said, they build the talk for that stage. Do you recommend that we build the talk first, not even thinking about where it's going to be delivered, but just make that piece as like our asset, our talk?
100%.
And then
100%.
See where it goes. Okay, interesting.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And so it's not where you'd give it necessarily that is the first consideration. It's who you're giving it for. Because one speech that kills for one audience may not be effective because it's not relevant for another audience. So, if we think that every single time that our speech is perfect for everyone, that might be a little bit narcissistic. It's not. It should be designed for a specific group of people.
Sure.
And then if you can find places where those specific group of people actually gather, then you'll have lots and lots of places to give that speech. So you're designing it for the people. Then you design this one speech that you can do over and over and over again with slight customization for that audience. But if you're customizing 70% of your speech every time you do it, that is not going to be a referable speech. It's not going to be high quality enough to get people to go, oh, I got to have more of that. Got to have more of that, because it doesn't actually get that much attention. Think about it this way. If you did customize a new speech every 2 weeks, that's like writing a new book every 2 weeks.
Yeah. And you never get to practice it.
Correct.
It's hard, and that's hard. If you have one speech and you're really good at it, and then you practice that thing over and over and over again, you get really good at it. Wow.
Yeah.
You just blew my.
That's right.
And I was on the wrong track here. My next question was going to be, Michael, how do we get on the best stages? But what I should be asking you is, how do we make that good talk?
That's right. See, that's exactly it. If the talk is that good, you get on all the stages.
This is so, so important. And this is so valuable right now. Thank you so much for bringing this up, because it's all we ever hear is, I gave my assistant a list of stages that she needs to be emailing, or, make me a list of 10 events that are coming up, and how can we best pitch them, and the pitch reel. And oh, by the way, what should I be pitching? It's all about the marketing. And then they're disappointed. And I've made those mistakes, myself, and that's why I'm talking to you today. So it's backwards. You're giving us a completely different way of putting this together. I do have to bring us back, though, to the idea of making money on the back end. So when we have the talk, pretty much it's polished, it's ready to go. Are we pitching anything in the end, or are we not? Are we just relying on people approaching us later? Do we?
I think that the answer to that question is going to be it depends. It depends on certainly what you're offering. It depends on where you are, what the environment calls for. But, I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, hey, listen, if you're interested in X, Y, and Z, here's how we engage in the process.
Yeah.
So for those folks who feel like, okay, I'm not really ready to make a big offer on stage, that's not where I am right now, what about and always have something to invite people to offer? It's a great way, to sort of feel that out, test the waters, and start to build a community in the process.
Yeah.
And I'm just, look, I've been doing this for a long time. So, I've tried every different type of, like opt-in strategy you could imagine. And what I've come to realize is that just give them stuff, just give it away.
Yeah.
Like on our website, we've got a whole bunch of resources that you can get for free. Some of them you've got to opt in for, but a lot of them you can just have.
Yeah.
And I figure it just makes it a little bit easier, for everybody to start a relationship.
I think that's great. And by the way, what Michael is talking about is the URL heroicpublicspeaking.com/free-resources. The link is down below in the description. Highly recommend that you go check that out. If you want to become a professional speaker, if you want to use speaking to grow your business, whichever way, definitely go to Michael. He's the go-to resource, right? The go-to expert. And what you just said, Michael, is so smart. It's incredible. I mean, anybody listening or watching right now can do this. You're not actually selling anything from stage. You're getting them into what I would call your house, your think big, session, or it could be a webinar, it could be a talk. Consistently, it's live, you're right there. And then maybe from that meeting, you invite them to a call, a sales conversation.
Yep.
Or not. Maybe they come a couple of times until they have, enough trust in you and they're really ready to then book in.
The big idea behind Book Yourself Solid was that marketing doesn't actually get you clients, which runs counter to a lot of the marketing advice. The idea is, well, if you do this marketing, then you'll get lots of clients. But, I found that, especially when I started, I would do a lot of stuff that didn't really get any clients. It just got me some attention. And when I see, folks spending so much time trying to do every single social platform and buying ads, and it just looks so exhausting, I realize, well, I don't think it's the marketing that actually gets you the clients. I think it's what you do once somebody becomes aware of you that actually books you the business. So you need just a few of the core self-promotion strategies to create enough awareness so that people will come and check you out. When they check you out, if they feel that the foundation of your business was built for them, not, just in a loosey-goosey kind of way, like I'll work with anybody that has a pulse and a checkbook, but built for them so that they feel like when they stand on it, it's solid. Then they'll give you an opportunity to earn their trust.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about before, trust is not built in an instant. Trust is built over time. So then you take that opportunity for earning trust and you start to make sales offers that are proportionate to the amount of trust that you've earned, which means you don't make sales offers right away.
Yeah.
You build that relationship over time.
Absolutely.
And then if your pricing is in the sweet spot of the buyer's desire and perspective, and you know how to have simple sales conversations that work, and you have those sales conversations at the right time, then you can book the business and you can do it again and again and again and again. So if we know that the 6 core self-promotion strategies are networking, direct outreach, referrals, public speaking strategies, writing through content marketing strategies, and various web strategies, and there are hundreds of them, well, then we can just pick a couple. So if we decide speaking is the thing, let's go do a speech every week.
Right.
Or let's go do, 5 speeches in one city once a month. Okay, well, maybe we don't want to speak, but we love writing. Great. We're going to write articles, regularly so we can create enough awareness. Then once we create that awareness, people will come check us out. Everything after that is based on what you do and how you develop that relationship. So, if we keep just focusing on learning more marketing tactics, we're just going to be in the tactics business as opposed to the relationship business, the people business.
That's it. Yep.
So that's my pitch on that. I just think
yeah. Well, and you've seen it work for you, right? And that's what we teach too. A lot of the times our clients, when they first come to us, their marketing's broken because they just have the confetti flying around. They create the awareness, but then, like you said, they don't build a relationship. And that's really what a funnel does to me. A hands-on funnel, ideally not all automated, but moving people down this value chain, building trust over time and using automation at the same time if possible, so that you're saving time in that process, and that's how you win their hearts and their trust and new clients.
Yeah.
And eventually you may have a business like Michael that relies on referrals exclusively, which is amazing.
And look, it can take a little while to get there, right? Like we didn't start yesterday.
How long have you been in business now, Michael? How long have you been in business?
Since 2003.
Yeah. So a veteran in business. And before we conclude, I want to ask you one more question and pitch you a little bit. And if I can say that, I want people to know sort of, how they get started. Let's say they hire you, they work with you. What are their first, 2 or 3 steps towards really leveraging speaking to grow their business?
Sure. So what we do is anybody that gets a referral, and the beautiful thing is that because we're in such a connected world now, the people who are listening right now probably know some of our students.
Yeah.
So when we meet somebody who says, I want to come, how do I get a referral? We say, well, let's see who you know. And it's very likely we can match them up with someone who is a student. And then that student we go to and say, are you willing to sponsor them, to put your name behind them? And if they say, no, I don't know them, then we can't. But if they say, yes, I would love to, then that person gets in. And what we do is this. We give all of our referrals an opportunity to come to a 2-day event at HPS HQ. We have a 10,000 square foot training facility that we've built here just for our programming. And they get to come to that event for free. 2 full days.
Wow.
With Amy and I teaching as well as our lead faculty members. We ask them to put down a deposit, which they get back when they come, because we always have more people than spots for those 2-day workshops. But they're completely free. And then we just take 30 minutes during lunch. So there's no other time where we're talking about the next step in the training, except for 30 minutes during lunch. So we do not take any time away from any of the regular training sessions throughout the day. 30 minutes during lunch, we tell them about HPS Grad. And HPS Grad is our long-term training program. And it reflects where Amy and I went to graduate school. So Amy went to the Yale School of Drama and got her MFA, and I went to NYU's graduate acting program and got my MFA. And we realized there isn't any institutional training, educational institution that delivers master's level training in this work at scale. There are definitely some good coaches out there who could work one-on-one with you, but in the way that we do it, it doesn't exist until we created it. We wanted it to mirror that experience so that by the time people left here, they were consummate professionals, can handle any situation that was thrown at them. And so then a percentage of those folks who come to core then continue on into that training with us after that. But if you don't have the training.
Good question. Is that where we develop the talk in grad?
Yes. Exactly. Because what we do is HBS Core is a learning experience because, there's so much that most speakers don't even know they need to know.
Yeah.
And so they'll sit there for 2 days going, oh my God, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that existed. I didn't even know I needed to know that.
Yeah.
And so it's very empowering because now you see contextually what's available to you. Very, very empowering.
Yeah.
But then once people get into grad, they work They create all of their content, write the script, so you have a rehearsal-ready script. Then you get into the rehearsal process, and you have a number of months long rehearsal process. So by the end, your script is primetime ready for the big stages.
Amazing.
But without that time, I've never seen anybody put together a brilliant referable speech in a weekend. I've just never seen it.
Referable speech. I'm going to remember that word.
Well, Andrew Davis, who's one of my favorite professional speakers on the circuit, is a great friend of mine. He and I are writing a book called The Referable Speech. It's kind of a super secret project. So now I've just spilled the beans, but it'll be out this summer, and it should be pretty darn good. I think it's going to be pretty good.
I bet it will be. So incredible. So I guess I want to respect your time, Michael. You are just full of golden nuggets and shifted my mind, and I'm sure the audience's mind, big time already about speaking. And actually, I'm excited, right? I'm really, really excited about getting my hands, into this, and I'll be with you at a 2-day event, and then hopefully moving on with you as well, and having a referable speech one day.
Great.
So really,
we look forward to having you here.
Absolutely. I can't wait to come. And again, you guys watching right now, I would like for you to go check out heroicpublicspeaking.com. The free resources are linked down below in the description. Go check out Michael and Amy Port. Amazing couple, amazing value, good-hearted people. Can't say enough good things about them. And Michael, thank you again so much for being here today.
And just for the record, my wife is the much more charming and much more intelligent and talented one. So for those who will meet her, they will know, okay, he was right. She's definitely the star.
Yeah, we love Amy. So sweet. All right. Thank you again. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
And now I'd like to hear from you. What were your biggest takeaways from today's episode? Are you going to be speaking to grow your business? And in which ways? Maybe you have questions. Down below in the comments, leave me some comments, ask some questions, and let us know how you are planning to use speaking to grow your business. As always, if you liked this episode, give me a like, share it with your friends, make sure you subscribe, and then don't forget to come back again next week.
Are you a woman business owner looking for the best ways to grow your business without working more? In my most popular training, I'll show you your biggest opportunities and what might be blocking your growth right now. Let's grow your business while making real space on your calendar, experiencing ease, spending time with loved ones, automating everything that makes sense, and letting go of overwhelm. Go to bullseyefix.com to watch the video right now.